Hi everyone, I wanted to do another tutorial video about a concept I've been discussing with some of my students lately, and it's how to get inner voice motion in your chords when you're playing through a song. One way that I've found works well for me is to turn a dominant 7 chord into a sus chord first, a sus4 chord, and then resolve to the dominant, and then keep going. So what I mean by this is, let's say we have a D minor chord, like that. And if we were to go to a G7 chord and then resolve to C major, we would do this instead. So D minor 7 to G7 sus. There's the sus, and then it goes down, creates a little bit of motion, and then resolves to here. There we go. So the concept's pretty simple. I'm going to take this through a tune that I think works well as kind of a work song for this. It's called I Wish I Knew. The first couple phrases of the tune, if you're not familiar with it, go like this. Like that. Okay, so I'm going to take this through and talk you through my concept of how I'm adding a little bit of motion. So we have the first phrase. Usually this chord's played as dominant. I know. I like it minor. That's kind of the way Keith Jarrett plays it, so I got it from him. We'll keep going, moving. So here's my first instance of a dominant chord. So I've made my D chord sus right there, and then I'm going to resolve to there and then out to G major. So in context. Sounds nice. Here again. Here's my sus chord. D sus, resolving down to dominant. I'm not going to do it here. I'll talk about that in a minute. Here's my sus. There's that dominant third coming in, the melody right there. So just a little quick dominant, sus to dominant here. Again. And I'm not going to do it there either. Okay, so that's a really nice way to get a little bit of inner voice motion is by turning the dominant chords to sus first. Now we can add a second and third layer of motion in here by adding some color tones that also move. So if we add a natural 9 and then flat that 9 and also a natural 13 and then flat that 13 as we move from sus to dominant, that can add 2 other layers of motion, creating other lines in the middle of all your harmony. Now it doesn't work in every single situation, as we'll see as we go through the song, but you'll see how it works. So as we go through again. So I'm going to hang on this 9, and then as I go to dominant, that 9 gets flatted and resolves nicely out there. So we get these nice parallel sixths moving down and then resolving. Now if I really want to throw everything in there, I could also add the 13 and make that move. My 13 in there, my 9 stays, here's my sus, and then my 9 goes down, 13 goes down, 4 goes down to 3, and then all that resolves out nicely. So in context, nice and lush, we get all these 3 moving lines in the middle. Let's keep going. I'm not going to flat the 9 on this one. In this situation, that's not the sound I'm going for. So here I've got my melody kind of takes up this spot right here, so I'm going to leave that at the beginning. But then I'm going to add 13, and as my 4 goes down to 3, my 13 is going to go down to flat 13. Now you might think, well, what's the 9 doing? Well, the 9's sitting down here, but the melody hangs out on a natural 9. So for me to flat that 9 would be in conflict with that melody. So in this situation, that's not going to be a good move to make. Let's do that in context again. really nice. Now again here, my melodies is a natural 9, so I'm not going to flat the 9, but I'm going to go back and put a 13 on that. Here's my 13, and then here's a situation where I've got a B dominant 7 chord with a flat 13 in the melody. I don't like the sound of that being sus in this situation. So I'm not going to make it sus to here, but I am going to take the 9 and move that. So I'm still going to create motion, just not with the sus in this situation. So I'm going to get, so you get that nice line. Here I'm on the A7 sus. I've added 9 and 5. My melody comes down to here. My 4 is going to drop to 3. My 9 is going to drop to flat 9. And then as I go out here, I've got a 9. I guess I could go flat 9. I'm going to leave it. Real quick, little sus to dominant. Now here's a chord again, kind of the same, a similar situation to the B7 chord. I've got an E dominant 7 with a sharp 11 in the melody. I don't want that sus note in here. That's going to conflict with that. So I'm going to keep this as a dominant chord, but I am going to add 9, 13, and I'm going to flat those halfway through the measure. So a really nice little motion there. We'll take it through the second half of the tune. Situation, we're going to move quick. Sus, dominant, sus, dominant. This is the exact same situation like the B7 chord. I've got a dominant chord with a flat 13 in the melody. I don't want to hear that sus in there. I personally don't like that sound. So I'm going to play around with the 9 as being the note that moves. You get that nice little intermoving line that resolves into the A minor chord. In that situation, I've got my 9 in there. I'm going down to this natural 13, and I'm hanging out on that for the melody. So I'm not going to alter any 13s. I like the dominant, the sus going to dominant, and then the flat 9 moving. That works for me. So, a nice way to get some motion in your chords. I know when we start adding that second and third layer of motion, it can get really kind of convoluted in the middle and maybe hard to see. So just work through it really slowly. You might even write it out, and that can really help to get some motion in there. Anyway, I hope that helps. That's one way that I like to get motion in my chords. Fairly easy concept that works on a lot of tunes in a lot of situations.